Cyclone Kirrily reforms just in time to make another landfall. Cyclone Kirrily has reformed and made landfall once again with a landfall intensity of 50 miles an hour, a central pressure of 991 millibars, moving across the Australian land at 3 miles an hour in a southwesterly direction. Once again, 80 kilometers an hour, 29.26 inches of mercury, moving at 5 kilometers an hour. The wind fields of this system remain relatively compact at 30 nautical miles to the northeastern side of the storm, 45 to the southeast, 40 to the southwest, and 20 nautical miles to the northwest side of this system. The distance away from the system, bear in mind it has made landfall, 30 miles away from Dimagee, 40 from Gangalida, 44 from Nicholson, 46 from Burketown, those locations in Queensland, and 104 miles away from Calvert, that's 48 kilometers away from Dimagee, 64 from Gangalida, 70 from Nicholson, 74 from Burketown, once again those locations in Queensland, and finally 167 kilometers away from Calvert in the Northern Territory. There are no cyclone warnings or watches in effect as of right now. So the primary hazards in association with this system is flooding. This system is expected to drop over 300 millimeters of rain on top of the region during the remainder of its lifespan. That's 12 inches of rain on top of the region whilst it continues its track overland southwesterly into the Northern Territory. So residents will need to keep an eye out for this system as, like I said, 300 millimeters of rain is expected to be dropped in the local area. That's 12 inches. Once again, make sure that everything is protected. So here's the latest cone from the JTWC. Because the Bureau of Meteorology do not classify the system as a tropical cyclone anymore, they do not have a cone out, so I've had to make do with the Joint Typhoon Warning Centers. So the system will continue to track southwest over land. The sea surface temperatures probably aided in reformation with this system being piping hot in the Gulf of Carpentaria. Once again, interestingly, storm force winds on this graphic that I could find courtesy of RAM show absolutely nothing, which is quite peculiar. Obviously the same thing in effect with the hurricane force winds, which will show up in just a moment, not that it looks any different. But yeah, so this was the only graphic I could find in regards to wind hazards. Like I said, there is absolutely no chance of gale force winds according to this graphic, even though we've got this system at 50 miles an hour at landfall intensity. The multimodal diagnostics take the system for one last hurrah before dropping it back down to what it should be, really. Partially because the shear, is going to get rather quite high. Sea surface temperatures remained favourable. Obviously they don't matter anymore, the system will continue to track over land. Relative humidity was also quite favourable, but it soon will drop off. Now here we are, I need to keep here. So with this is the clean imagery that I could find courtesy of Jason, our technical wizardry, that you can find this imagery on the Force 13 website. As you can see here, the center of the system and indeed the north and northwest continue with what I believe to be minus 80-degree cloud tops, which is quite interesting, especially for a reformed system that looks so good on radar, at least for a tropical storm. And what I believe to be seen there in the burst of convection to the north there, you can see even specks of minus 90, which is very peculiar again for a tropical cyclone that has just reformed and indeed made landfall. So once again, here's the visible imagery as it is daylight over in the Australian region right about now. It's about 3 in the afternoon, or will be shortly as I record this. So yeah, again, this system looks quite good over the visible imagery as well. Once again, it just reformed, had a very short time over the Gulf of Carpentaria with very favourable waters. So again, yeah, it looks quite good for a tropical storm of 50 miles an hour or 80 kilometers an hour. We'll just wait for the imagery to change once again. We've got quite a lot to get through at the moment. So this system is expected to continue on its southwesterly track towards the Queensland Northern Territory border. This is the precipitable water imagery, as well as you can clearly see the cyclone structure within this imagery as well as it makes landfall. Once again, 300 millimeters or 12 inches of rain is expected to be dropped in the area. And once again, it's quite an impressive system for just a very short time, managing to reform over I believe over very favourable waters. I'm not sure of the exact temperature. I believe it's like somewhere around the 30-degree mark. However, I don't have a scale with me right now, so I cannot check. And the final imagery I've got to share with you right now is the base reflectivity radar composite, once again courtesy of the Force 13 website. You can check all this imagery out for yourself on the Force 13 website, which is force-13.com/satellite. And again, this system looks quite good for a recently reformed cyclone that once again just made landfall. You can just about see the center of circulation over land. This system will continue to track southwest over Queensland before reaching the Northern Territory border.